Alright, we're good.
Be like,
Bussin' with the boys, hanging with the fellas, betting on a game. No woman's gonna tell us what to do, and I've been over here just drinking beer and making that noise. Baby, I'm hanging with the fellas, bussin' with the boys.
Bro.
Welcome to another episode of Bussin' with the Boys. I'm your host, Will Compton, the boy Terre. He is out this week, and truth be told, it's kind of funny. Michigan only wins 28-18. He wants to be out this week. Look, we have an incredible guest on, Michael Chandler. The news is out that he is fighting in UFC 309. The news just leaked this weekend. If you're here for Michael Chandler, our boys in the back, they do a great job of putting our chapters in there. If you just want to watch that interview, that's on the back end. We do the stuff that we do every week at the top of the episode. That's talk intro, that's talk football. We recap the weekend. And if you're here to listen to what we think going into this weekend, whether it's Huskers, Illinois, I don't know who Michigan plays, NFL picks, doesn't matter. We have a new show called The Locker Room that drops every Thursday at 6 a.m. on all platforms, YouTube, Rumble, audio platforms included. You can watch that stuff on Thursday. So we recap the weekends on the intros here at Bussin' with the Boys. We preview the weekends on The Locker Room. We talk all ball. It's myself, Terre, Delaney Walker. And again, we have this fan call-in segment where you guys can email videos to us. We do a fan pick parlay, where a fan puts together their favorite parlay of the weekend, whether it be NFL or college. You can submit those videos to info@bussinwtb.com. We'll have that up sitting on here if you're watching at home on YouTube right now. But again, submit your videos for your favorite parlay of the weekend to be featured on the Locker Room show. You do that at info@bussinwtb.com. Now, before we get into the episode, we are presented by the one, the only, the Chevy Silverado. There's a reason we've never done a tier talk for best pickup trucks. That is because Bussin' with the Boys, there's only one pickup truck for us, and that's a Silverado. Why is that, you might ask? A Silverado is a partner, and a partner that you can depend on. We've all spent time driving and using the Silverado for all kinds of adventures and other shenanigans. Silverado was a partner with us on the spring tour, and they are also partners with us on the fall tour as well. They bring grit, legendary grit, paired with modern truck tech, inside and out. They have massive screens, up to 8 cameras with 14 different views to help make driving, towing, and parking all easier. We love the new bold blacked out look of the new Silverado HD Trail Boss. Your boy reps the ZR2 Chevy Silverado all blacked out. Head over to Chevy.com to build your own Silverado or Silverado HD and check out all the current offers on the Silverado. Discover a world of strength and capability all behind the wheel of our favorite truck, that is the Chevy Silverado. They've received the highest total number of awards compared to other brands in the J.D. Power 2022 to 2024 U.S. Initial Quality Studies. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details. And again, all awards are based on the last 3 years dating back to 2022. The boys, we're going to recap the weekend as we do every week. The intro, this is a big boys intro podcast. And if you're watching, listening right now, go ahead. If you want to support the boys, we know you're for the boys. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Make sure you're following us on all audio channels, video channels like Rumble and YouTube. Again, I want to say we have over a 50% threshold of people who are not subscribed to the pod. We have, when we're breaking down the data, Mitch does a great job in our team meetings of letting us know how many returning viewers we have every week. So if you guys can just make sure, take a quick 10 seconds, make sure you're subscribed to the episode, make sure you're subscribed to the boys. That really helps us out. Let's start off the episode. Checkmate. Your boy has the key to the city, Terre, Missouri. You want to get a quick photo?
Yeah.
Here, hang on, just 1 second, everybody.
That's too good. Oh, I'm kind of like tilted down because the glare. Yeah, right there. Sorry.
Hey, unlock Terre real quick.
Can you move?
Yeah, I'll get a little. We activated Terre over the weekend. My daughter Rue and I, we took a road trip down to Missouri.
Can you move that mic?
Yes, I will move the mic. We took a trip down to Terre, Missouri to your boy Willy C. I had a little ceremony. I thought it was just going to be like they said that they were unveiling like a photo that's going to be behind the bleachers, is what my brother Wyatt said. And when I got there, they had these chairs sitting up in the middle of the 50-yard line on the track. Family was there. The mayor was there. And little to my knowledge, I got the key to the city. They retired your boy's jersey. And the unveiling of the photo up top, it's hanging on the press box. Great photo. Jersey number 28. Your boy got his number retired, and it was an all-time night. And then the next day, we went to the RJFL fields, which is Raider Junior Football League, our community league that I grew up playing. They had their pump, pass, and kick, or I think they call it pump, pass, and field now because they do a lot of field activities. And it was all time because full circle moment, my number 28 came from, if you go back to that last photo, Sherm, I'm talking to, everybody that showed up, but to my left is Dave Gibson. He is the guy who runs the Raider Junior Football League. Dave Gibson was a stud running back in high school. He was my very first RJFL coach for the Patriots, the 1999 Patriots. We went 6-0. We killed everybody. And he wanted me to wear his jersey number, which was 28. His number was 28 in high school. And so I was 28 throughout my entire childhood, all the way up through high school. That jersey number is now retired with the Raiders. Your boy was fired up. I had an incredible weekend. And yeah. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty solid. It is really cool. Yes, that's you next. Going back to listening to Dave speak to the RJFL, they raised over $60,000. My very first year, I think I was in second grade flag football. We raised around $4,000, and that same fundraiser is now. They had the record year last year at $40,000. Now it jumped up to $60,000. A lot more kids are coming out in the Raider Junior Football League. So it was really cool to kind of see everybody there, because when I was playing, it was like there were 4 teams per grade. Now I want to say they're in between like 6 to 8, and all that money goes into all their equipment. They get all like the cool stuff and everything else. They have like NFL looking jerseys, not like the netted, you know what I mean? Like when I was on the Patriots, it was just blue and it just said RJFL on the front. Now they have like Patriot uniforms. So it was really cool, man. It truly was. I had a really good time. Dave put me on the spot. I had to give like a speech when he introduced me. He's like, hey, do you mind talking kind of about you coming from here and say a few things to people? I was like, you want me to give a speech? Dave, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not prepared. And so I got to talk, I got to speak a little bit, and it was cool, man. The kids loved it. I loved it. It was a fun time. I feel very uncomfortable kind of talking about myself on the mic without Taylor here. You bring up that, I don't know, is that the clip that I posted, or is this the highlight film?
No, that's you.
So Friday Night Lights, before the game started, when they retired everything and I got the key to the city, they played this highlight tape. The very first clip, they had like 1 or 2 clips of me in the RJFL to start it off. And it was my dad or Coach Jones, the head coach of the Raiders, like filming it on his TV. So we're like geeking out the whole time watching this highlight tape. Pretty good highlight tape.
Dude, your pose has reached new fame.
Bro, it really has. And it fires me up. Because I'll be like smiling or I'll like try to pose for the photo and smile. Most of the time I just do that. I just hit my pose. And people are like, hey, I want you to hit the pose. We got to hit the pose. Which fires me up, because that pose is simply so I don't have to smile or feel like I'm kind of like, whether you're putting your arms around people or you want to do a thumbs up or number 1, 2, whatever it is. It just helps kind of like have a goofy pose so you don't have to worry about, is my smile good in this photo? You kind of zoom in on your face. Like I look kind of dumb in this photo. I need to figure out my pose. No, we just hit the Willy C. I see Chiefs Kingdom, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Fans tagging me, hitting the pose. So hey, if you hit that pose and you tag me and I come across it, I promise you I will share it whether on my story or on Twitter.
It's so funny.
But it is, bro. The kids wanted to come up. They're like, hey, do you want to hit the, I'm like, bro, yes. Like everybody line up, like, let's hit the pose. Like we zoom out, we take an awesome photo. But it is cool that pose is hit.
When a kid does it, it hits different too.
I know, man.
Because they're like extra stoked, because when you're older, it's like you're being funny and doing it. When you're a little kid, it's like it's super fun to have an excuse to flex.
Yeah.
And so you can see it in their face, or they're just like so excited. Because
as I would do it, like in like recent years, you feel goofy doing it around a group of people that have no clue what you're even doing, and they kind of just like chuckle. But now, since it's kind of known a little bit, everybody's like, oh yeah, let's go. But it fires me up. It fires me up hitting that pose. The year 10 playoff Willy pose. Yeah.
Rank the poses.
Yeah, that needs to be the trophy. Like, you just hit the pose going. We give out that award.
The Will Compton Award.
Yeah, the Will Compton Award. But it was awesome, man. It was a really good weekend. We went back to the farm. We had like family and friends over to watch the Huskers. We watched ball all day Saturday. Shout out Rue. She pooped in the potty twice. I have a little potty trainee in the making right now. And she's really only wetting herself at nap time and bedtime, just like her old man did up until he was about 14. But she crushed it. It was a great time. I didn't know how it'd be since I was riding solo. The wife had to hang back for a Bar 3 event on Saturday that she had to be at. But it was an awesome weekend, man. It was an awesome weekend. Rue getting to be at the old stomping grounds. I try to tell her. She has no clue what's going on. She just wants to play and jump around and dance around and stuff.
Top 5 adorable video.
Yeah,
with
man.
Those girls when they helped her up.
Yeah.
And then they started going crazy again.
Yeah.
She was hitting Go Big Reds.
Yo, we had a long ride back home, and I was trying to. She wanted music. She didn't want music, and then when we do listen to music, it's got to be the same song on repeat, essentially the entire time. Fortunately, I got her on the Lonely Road with MGK and Jelly Roll, but I was on the Frozen soundtrack for the majority of the weekend. And so when she didn't want music, we were just sitting there, and she was just talking, and you gotta like you're trying to. She wants you to repeat what she says pretty much every time. And so I got her into Go Big Red, like, hey, Rue, we got to get you into this Go Big Red chant. So I tried teaching it to her over and over and over, and eventually she got it. She's got it down now. I was trying to get to where I'm saying Go Big Red, and then she says Go Big Red, but she doesn't quite understand that yet, so she just does both of them together. But she's got the Go Big Red chant on lock. By the way, the Huskers, we took care of business. Defense, we did hold them to 3 points, but they were kind of running it. They were kind of moving the ball at will at some point. We just did a good job of being like a bend, don't break defense. But I'm sure it'll be one of those weeks of practice to where it's all about physicality, because we got a tough Fighting Illini ball club coming to town. And the Illinois is not a team to sleep on. Brett Bielema, as I say later in the episode with Mike Chandler, he is my number one enemy this week. I mean, they took everything from us in the Big Ten championship with Wisconsin. That's when they had like over 700 yards of offense on us.
The Buzz will be back too because they're ranked. And it has to be the first.
This is the first ranked game where Nebraska's ranked and another team's ranked in over a decade. So it will be buzzing. And it's the 400th consecutive sellout. So it's going to be a massive game. Friday night, under the lights. And we beat their ass last year. It's Friday. We beat their ass last year because we were coming off of that. We just got stomped by Michigan, and Rule went full pads the next day on a Sunday, and we mopped them last year. So I know they're gonna come hungry. Like, we're gonna get Illinois' best. So it's a big week. It's a big week for us. I feel like we've had a good 3 first games where you can kind of see it as like a preseason, and now you're facing a team that's not like a juggernaut, but like a salty ball club that's built in the trenches, run game and everything else. They have a competent quarterback, but like a good test for where we are at right now to see kind of who we really are. Because Illinois, I think, is sneaky tough. I think Indiana's sneaky tough. They went out to UCLA and beat them. And the reason I say that is James Madison University had a really good team last year. That staff is now with Indiana, and they took a lot of their better players from JMU. Not saying like they're world beaters, but still good football players. And so Indiana, that's why they're undefeated right now. They're kind of they're a good play in the gambling space, kind of like a dark horse the way Kansas was last year. Kansas lost again, man.
Sherm put me on game. I'll let him talk about it. Similar to the coach at Nebraska that's no longer calling plays, but he is there. I won't say his name. And when I told you, hey, your offense is in for it, same situation is happening to Kansas.
Yeah, what's going on with Kansas? And I know we have a massive Kansas fan base that follows this podcast.
Here's a little bit of lore. JP and I were both huge on Kansas going into the season. Unbeknownst to me, Kansas during this offseason hired a man by the name of Jeff Grimes as their offensive coordinator. Grimes comes from BYU, the 2020 COVID season, where Zach Wilson went off. They were still independent, though, so they're playing nobody. Zach Wilson has a great season. Jeff Grimes gets hired by Baylor and with Dave Aranda's crew, runs our offense into the ground. We had like 5 quarterbacks transfer, running backs transfer. I mean, it's terrible. Each year, our offensive numbers just got worse and worse. We fire him, and Kansas hires him. But I have no idea why. And the same stuff that was happening at Baylor is happening in Kansas now. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, because they have good players on that offense.
Great players. And now everybody's coming for Jalen Daniels' head. And I'm like, dog, it's not him. That OC is, I call him Grimes against humanity because he is the woat.
Yeah, that's good information to know because I know we were high on Kansas kind of coming into this year. Our boy, yeah. Maybe pivot to Indiana. Yes, Arizona State. Coach Dilly down there getting those boys going. Alabama looked tough. They look tough, man. Obviously, Wisconsin doesn't seem like they're that good of a team this year. They could turn around. I'm surprised that Fickle doesn't have like sort of a progression. Him coming out of Cincinnati, he was kind of a hot candidate to hire. I know he was definitely on my short list with Nebraska, hoping that we would hire him. I'm so happy we have for Coach Rule.
Yeah,
but you guys beat their ass.
Yeah, handle business in Madison. Madison is a great place to visit for a game. It does suck that Van Dyke went down early. Not saying that it would have changed much, but the morale in the stadium just dropped. I kind of expected Big Cat to be up there. That whole situation was hilarious with the gun dying on him and him just chucking it. I want to know how his shoulder feels today. But the one thing that I wanted to see is less penalties on offense, which we did. The week before against South Florida, we had like 130 yards of penalties. So cut that back, got back to just discipline ball. And it was disappointing. Jump around was cool, but the student section emptied immediately after.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's tough. It's a tough situation.
It's a tough game, and it was an early game.
But they got
too.
up for it. Yeah,
and Big Cat too. What's funny about the Big Cat stuff is he gave me shit for going on the T-shirt cannon, Michigan last year. They're like, "Hey, I was like first series of the second quarter. Do you want to do the T-shirt cannon?" This before the Michigan game started, and so I'm like, "Oh yeah," and I'm thinking early enough, we'll be solid. We're down like 21-0 when Jack and I are standing kind of in the back waiting for this gun cannon. And you just feel ridiculous that you're about to go out there getting your ass whooped. And Big Cat texted me like, "Hey, are we in the trust tree?" I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "They're asking me to do the T-shirt cannon." And they were down like either 21-3 or 14-3 at the time. And he's like, "I know how you feel, but we're just kind of like laughing back and forth." And then they have the audacity to bring him out there. The T-shirt cannon doesn't work. It malfunctions like the Wisconsin football's doing right now. And he's just throwing T-shirts.
Yeah.
So hats off to BC for going out there, doing what you need. I did tell him, I'm like, "Hey, it's just part of the process." That was us last year. Look at us now.
It's true.
You got to get in the trenches. You got to
get a quarterback.
Yeah. Got to get a quarterback, bro. You have to have a quarterback. Yeah. Just at
all levels.
At all levels of ball. I will say a surprising one over the weekend was North County High School. Deshaun Watson and the Browns beating Jacksonville. I thought Jacksonville was going to be solid this year, but then you see Miami get their ass beat by the Bills at home. So it's like, okay, was Miami even a tough team that beat? Tough situation there. But you think about how Jacksonville was in it, and they had a great first half against Miami. Miami kind of just turned it on in the second half. You think Jacksonville, Trevor looked better, like he's going to go up and they're going to dust the Browns, but it's truly like any given Sunday. I mean, the Raiders, 9.5-point underdogs going across the country with their first-round draft pick last year out. And Max Minshew looked fucking awesome. We tried getting him on the pod today for a call-in. We did get turned down. So that was tough.
One win.
But he was like 30 of 35.
Yep.
I mean, the Raiders look tough, man.
Are the two best quarterbacks in the league Sam Darnold and Derek Carr?
Bro, hey, what's crazy? I bookmarked this too.
Derek Carr?
I bookmarked this too. Get ready for game day with the latest addition to Barstool Sports' rival collection, Barstool College. Shady Rays has partnered with Barstool Sports to bring you a new lineup of premium polarized shades that are perfect for showing off your team pride. The Barstool College collection features bold colorways inspired by some of the biggest names in college sports, ensuring that you'll find the perfect pair to rep your team. Whether you're at a tailgate or in the stands, these shades deliver all-day comfort and top-notch performance. Plus, with Shady Rays hassle-free returns and exchanges, you can shop with confidence. Elevate your game day look with the Barstool College collection. Head over to shadyrays.com. Use code BOYS to get a generous 35% off polarized sunglasses, and see for yourself why over 300,000 people have rated these shades 5 stars. Back to the episode. All right, here's the post. The year, hang on, let me make sure I give Dave in Oakland. The year is 2024. Derek Carr is statistically the best passer in the league. Gardner Minshew has the highest completion percentage. The longest touchdown of the season is thrown by Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield is undefeated and just barely behind Carr. Kyler Murray threw a perfect 158 pass rating game. I mean, that's nuts, man. Cardinals do look tough. I mean, they demolished a very beaten down Rams team who were without like 4 of their starting offensive linemen. They lost Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp gets hurt in the middle of the game. I mean, yeah, they're just basically a band-aided team out there right now, which sucks because the Rams could have been a good football team this year. They still can be, because again, any given Sunday, you still got to line it up, bro. Just to touch on the local team, the Titans, man. And here, because I was watching that game, and here's what sucks about it is, without, and I'm going to sound a little bit Nebraska stylish in years past, but this is true. If you don't give up a blocked punt, like when a team blocks a punt, their chances of winning the game is like north of 80%. But if you don't get a blocked punt and Willie Mayo just takes care of the football, they're fine. They are moving the ball well. Calvin Ridley looks good. They ran the ball solid. Their defense gets after it, man. And it's truly, what sucks is that it was repeat things. Obviously different situations, but repeat things from week 1 to week 2. And the wild thing about that punt block, because your boy put his special teams hat on and watched that punt get blocked, like losing on an up and under to a 5-man box, really 4, because one guy was just kind of standing up. You knew he wasn't coming after it. But a 4-man box is crazy. You got 7 in there blocking. You're sitting here, when you got a 4 or 5-man protection, you're all thinking about getting out and covering the ball and covering the return. That is what that wing was thinking. Is like, all right, it's a 4-man box. That the punt block or the punt return team is building a return. They're not coming after you. When a punt return team is coming after you to block a kick, it's a 7 or 8 man box every time, unless they overload one side in a 6-man box. But you just had 2 guys on that surface on that right side, 2 guys on the left side. Like the guard and tackle are looking at chipping to kind of get out, help each other get out so you can cover the punt. But a wing's the worst thing you can do is get beat on an up and under in any situation. But a 4-man box,
he didn't even touch him.
You can see he's like looking to get out, which I get that is what you're doing. But your number one thing is protecting the inside. And getting beat on an up and under in a 4-man box is so brutal. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know where he is on the roster.
He's like our number 3 running back.
He could be somebody that has to turn in the playbook this week. That like those are things that happen. I've talked about before my time on Washington. We had a Thursday night game where we're just doing walkthroughs. So my man on the wing didn't really get a good look at everything, but he gets beat on an up and under, and he's cut the next day. And what was disheartening is watching, I forget his name. Is it Chestnut is his last name?
That's him.
But he's in the post-game interview with Paul Kaharski. And obviously Paul's seen as kind of like a villain in the locker room. No, guys don't really want to mess with him or talk to him. But he just didn't, the answers he was giving, the body language, kind of like smiling, like knowing that PK's asking him questions, tough, hard questions about it, I guess. But to not like, me, bro, if I gave up a pump block, I would be on suicide watch. I would be feeling not only did I let my team down and not do my job, but I'm thinking my career is now in jeopardy because you are what you put on film. Like now, if you're any team watching that, you're any opponent watching that film, every special teams unit is dialing up how they can get you in an up and under or how they can pick on you. That's ultimately what that kid's going to be facing the rest of the year if he's still on the roster. But that is the worst thing that could have happened in that situation. And the way he kind of handled that interview is like, you know, if I'm a teammate kind of watching that, you understand that you're trying to get out and it's on you and everything else, but you're kind of thinking like, bro, you have to show a little bit more emotion than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're a captain on that special teams unit, I don't know.
Or you're the guy
wild.
behind him thinking, okay, now here's my chance.
For sure. Like, I don't know how they'll shuffle it around. Again, who knows if he's going to get cut or not.
Yeah.
But that is one of those, that's the type of an offense that you have to where that is deemed cuttable.
Yeah.
And if he's still on it, he gets another shot at redemption. But at the same time, your asshole should be so tight, bro. Like, I wouldn't want to talk to the media, but you'd be able to read in most people's faces that you gave up such a massive play. Obviously, Will Levis had his turnover. They had their own issues just across the board throughout the game because no one player like loses a game. But I'm feeling like I just lost that entire game because you give up a block punt. That's.
I mean, the defense looks consistent. Like they look good. They get to the quarterback.
Yeah, they play with their hair on fire.
So that part, there is confidence there. I think Callie said it best. What the fuck are you doing? Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. You're inside the 10. It's like, just go down. There's 3 points.
Leaving the week. Yeah, so close,
it's
bro.
like,
in the week before, like, Bill Belichick broke it down on one of the shows he was on. Maybe it was McAfee.
yeah.
But he's just saying how him and Tom kind of talk through situations like that and say that's like a learning thing for the next week. You're sitting there talking about it in the film room like, hey, I understand you're trying to make a play. You're trying to be Superman here and keep us in the game. But let's just say this doesn't happen and we punt the ball. Like, we're still alive and still playing. Like, we're in the game. We're not giving up nothing.
Yeah.
Like, right there when he gave it up there, it's like, hey, even if you eat that, I know, again, Will's trying to figure out how to play his game because he has great ability. But you just eat that and go down. Like, we have 3 points on the board.
Yeah. I mean,
You're not changing the momentum.
because it's back-to-back weeks of that.
I know, man. I know. A pick six the other way.
Well, I don't know if it was that play specifically, but also Tajay gets hurt. So if it is on that play, then it's like, turn the ball over. Your running back gets hurt. Could have had 3 points. Belichick, the quote about that is, the main point is Tom Brady took care of the football no matter what. If it was a bad series, take care of the football. And it sucks because Will was on here like, yeah, of course I look at Tom Brady. It's like,
yeah, but like in Will Levis' defense, when you really look at his career, he has probably started. How many games did he start last year? So he's probably played 25 games as a starting quarterback from college to NFL.
Yeah.
Which is like not a lot.
Right.
And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's like figuring out how he can balance his ability because you can't get away with stuff. Like, I'm sure he can get away with stuff like that in college. You're not. Defenses in this league are going to make you pay when you make bad decisions like that. And everybody's in. If you just take care of the football, every team in the league is in the game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. South Carolina.
Also, I guess to Will's defense, because I feel like I might be the reason the Titans are losing. No. Because if I was publicly hating Will Levis, I think we'd continue to win. And now that I have the public backing, I might have to be a hater, but I'm not. But to Will's defense, the Titans O-line collectively is giving up the most pressures through 2 weeks in the entire NFL. So
Bill Callahan's losing his mind in those
I
meetings.
bet he's furious about it. But I mean, we got young guys out there right now. A couple rookies, 2-3 year guys. So
and a completely new staff. Like, there's gonna be growing pains. Like, I kind of hate how everybody's. You see people saying like Will Levis, he's not the guy. Blah blah. Like, now is not the time to hit a panic button. Like, he's got time. He's just got to figure out like, hey man, just take care of the football. Because again, if he doesn't do that, they're putting at least 3 points on the board, and you don't block a punt. Like, those are two insane momentum shifts for a team.
Yeah, it would be 2-0. Also, Malik Willis revenge game next week. Packers come to town.
Yeah,
and
Malik Willis got to win.
If Malik Willis beats us in Nissan, I'll kill myself. Yeah.
Yeah, they get that.
But I mean,
It's gonna be Josh Jacobs touching the rock 30 times, like the guy that showed up to stop the run.
I know, but
think they
mean,
will.
I didn't catch a lot of the Packers game, but he looked sound in the highlights. So it looked way more sound than he ever did with the Titans. So
I was gonna say, LaFleur is gonna have him right. They're gonna have a simple game plan. Like they fed the rock to Josh Jacobs like over 30 times, and he had a good day on the ground. But LaFleur's gonna do a good job of kind of like having his confidence there, playing within the playbook that he's given, and they will.
It'll be a battle. The Titans' defense is nice right now. We are.
Yeah.
That D line is solid, but
The D line is gonna be a problem for everybody.
yeah, it was.
But it was tough, man.
Tough.
That was a tough loss for the boys in blue. Yeah, Malik Willis. You saw where the center threw up on the ball.
Yeah.
Wild heady play.
Don't throw that.
Yeah, puke and rally. But
setting your QB up for disaster.
snap it. Yeah, South Carolina. We obviously get into it with during the Chandler interview, but South Carolina, man,
Dude,
my heart goes out to your fan base,
you
bro.
just broke my heart again. What was the stat you said when you block a punt?
It goes up north of 80%.
Yes. An epic
And you
block
guys had
punt.
2 pick sixes called back.
2 pick sixes called back.
And an OPI that should not have been an OPI.
I saw that.
Oh. How do they
The
get
refs
away
are
with
bailing
this?
out LSU very similar to the way the refs bail out the Chiefs. We need to start seeing prop bets on the DraftKings Sportsbook for referees.
Referees need to start doing press conferences after the game, and the fans need to be the ones asking the questions. They can put all the security you want, but I gotta be in their front row.
Yeah.
They took something away from our program.
Yeah, because that you were saying it too, like that. It sets a tone for the program, for not only the season, but what's to come next year, the years after that.
We would have been, if we beat Akron, never sleep on any teams. We would have been 4-0 coming off a bye week and going into number 5. Ole Miss at home, Juice Wells back in our stadium. Both teams ranked. Opportunity to take down a number 5 team. Ole Miss was the first top 5 team we beat back like with, maybe it was even Garcia. We beat them when they were number 4 and they had Bo Wallace in Columbia. They could come back. They would have come back. Freaking Brian Kelly, bro. I swear I'm pulling up to Baton Rouge. Coach Kelly, never mind. We had him on the podcast. Your team doesn't rep you, man. So don't even try your rah-rah speeches. They don't care. They want you out too.
What about that southern accent he throws around?
The southern accent, man. I mean, it truly.
A heartbreak. People watching this right now, you're seeing in real time a true heartbreaking loss
They have to know
to
the pain.
the most diehard South Carolina fan.
One of the
all time.
reasons I dislike Tennessee so much is because they gave me the same pain. Like back when I was in elementary school, I was at home by myself, and either we missed a field goal or they blocked it, and we lost the game. And I was like 10 years old, punching my parents' bed, and I just said, "Why does this always happen to us?" And I lean back, I say, "I don't know if we're ever gonna win." And that's how I felt after LSU. And now I'm 28. And I felt the same way when I was 11. So I'm sick. But the last thing I'll say, I was telling Sherm on the phone, I look at our schedule. It's hard, yeah, but I see Ole Miss, Alabama, Missouri, Oklahoma. What's the first word that comes to your mind when you see that?
What is it, JP?
Opportunity. Because we can get it right back after this LSU, whatever we want to call that. We can get it right back with a win over
You
Ole
guys
Miss.
have the Cats.
Yeah, I mean, why?
Hey,
yeah.
you're up there. You heartbreaking loss, but you watch the film like you can't tell me we can't play with anybody.
We finally have back, and if you're a South Carolina fan, it'll make sense. We have back an undisciplined, disciplined defense where like DJ Swearingers are running around out there, popping dudes in the head, not
With
sorry
confidence,
about
having
it.
some swag, talking shit.
And we're built from the D-line out, which is so key. You'll always have a chance in the game.
Yeah. I'm glad we have a space and a platform for
Yeah, that felt good. I was just scrolling Twitter looking for validation all weekend. Luckily, I was getting it. Because if I didn't.
Brought Jack and JP watch.
Yeah. Also, to go back to the Titans game, I know I mentioned this earlier in the preseason, but we're making a difference. the OG Pain Train video is back. But literally,
I thought he was gonna say we're making a difference in the community.
we are. But
Like, that's the
they
pro
played
in
it,
season.
and I stood up out of my seat, and I'm going nuts. And there's like a guy who sits, his name's Sam, 2 down from me, and he's like a fan of the show and cool. And they didn't play it right the fourth quarter, which they always have traditionally. They played it on the first defensive drive. And so they start playing it, and I get on my seat going nuts. You could hear a pin drop in this fucking stadium. No one standing. I almost feel like people got quieter when they turned it on. So this is a call to action to the city of Nashville. Next week in the fourth quarter, when Malik Willis is getting donkey kicked in the nuts, I need everyone on their fucking feet, and we need to get loud for the boys, or else I'm going to have to start hating Will Levis again. I don't know.
Well, you'll be dead.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll be dead. You got to
I'll
kill
be
yourself
dead.
if
So
Malik and then win.
get loud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll start getting the
But
memorial.
yeah.
just
Shout out-
just in case.
Shout out Nate Bain. I know he made this possible. He was really whispered in some people's ears, and I don't think it was the best showing for the front of or the front office. Seeing how quiet it was during that video when they were like, "Dude, y'all got to bring it back. It's gonna be awesome."
I know.
And then they were like, "This is why we don't do this stuff." But they also had a couple weird videos, but doesn't everybody?
How was Vegas? Did you come out profitable?
Yeah, Vegas was good. I don't know if you want me to wait for Taylor to tell you about his weekend, but I mean, it'll make you sick.
Was it his best one ever?
Best one ever, by far.
Maybe I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Let's talk something because it'll be like 2 weeks before we're back. Because again, everybody listening out, next week we're going to be at Surviving Barstool. We're trying to figure out what the episode situation is going to be like. But we will be in the middle of surviving next week. So we're kind of figuring out what we're going to be doing with as it pertains to Bussin with the boys in the locker room. But it could be 2 weeks before we're all back together.
Yeah,
So we need to have something because
he
it sucks
flew in.
too that Michigan 28-18. That was a tough game. Yeah, out of town. He slept
he didn't
through.
watch the game.
He didn't watch the game.
He didn't watch a single second of the game. Yeah, Taylor's not a fan. We know that. We told him last week. The reason that you're a fan is because what JP's talking about. It's heartbreak. That's what being a fan is letting a team dictate your mental health week in and week out and not changing anything about it.
Yeah, like my wife's trying to put together a birthday party on Friday, and I'm like,
Don't
kind of
do
going back
that.
and forth, like, hey, the Huskers play on Friday, and she has the audacity to say they don't need you to watch the game. And I'm thinking, it's not even fucking about that. It's I want to watch the game. Like, this is my favorite time of the year with my favorite team, and it's Husker football. And it just blows my mind that, okay, we're planning my birthday party, and it sounds like I want to watch Husker football.
She can play and you can watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say, hey, that's fine. I just know I'm going to be on my phone. It's not. I'm watching the Huskers and the Fighting Illini because we got a tough team coming to Lincoln.
That's a beast of a team.
But sorry, Jack. I apologize for interrupting
Oh,
you.
you're good. I get it. I don't ever schedule a birthday party when the Vols. are
Everything's
playing.
good at home. Everything's great at home. She's 8 months pregnant. Like, we're figuring out. Yeah.
But Vegas, Taylor got in there Thursday. I flew in Friday morning. When I show up on Friday, he's like, "Yeah, I'm up $380,000 on one night," and I was like, "What?" And he was just playing baccarat with this dude Cody, who's I forget his like, yeah, is it exposed? Yeah. So they really profitable first night. Friday, we gamble a little in the morning, and he's still doing very well. Friday night rolls around, and Robbie Fox from Barstool, he's in town. He broke that Conor news, which was awesome for him. He comes to the Red Rock, and Dana had told him, "Hey, I'm going to pay for your wedding, but you just got to meet me
I
at
saw
the
that
Red
video.
Rock."
Yeah.
So we go in there, and you can check out the vlog that's going to come out here in the next few weeks. But I'm getting all the like inside scoop from Robbie. I'm like, "How are you feeling? Have you ever gambled?" He's never gambled before in his life. He says the most he's ever bet on a sports game was $5. So he's like, "This already is making me nervous being in here." And I was like, best case scenario, Dana gets in here, wins like 3 hands, hands you a bunch of chips, and you're good, and you walk.
Tunnel of chaos.
4 hours later, we're sitting there still, and it's 4 a.m. I'm so upset. I'm like, I just want to go to bed, but I'm not allowed to go to bed ever until Taylor walks out. So, but Dana is down $2.3 million.
2.3
million. And I'm sitting there like, I'm going to die in this room. Truly, I'm never going to leave. What does he do? Dana comes back from 2.3 million. So, and the reason I'm like giving this away from the vlog, because Robbie already posted the clip. Dana gives him money for the wedding. It's awesome. But Taylor has $200,000 in markers on the table. And the dust settles and we're about to leave. And Taylor's like, Dana, yeah, I got these things. I got to play some more. So Dana goes back in, 2.8 million in the next hour. He's down.
Taylor? Or Dana?
So he went
So
down.
Dana's trying to play to get Taylor out. Dana
Yes.
ends up going down $2.8 million.
After he was just down 2.3 and then paid Robbie. And then he's completely clean and then goes in. And then from $0, not owing anything, goes back down to 2.8 million. And then it was like 4:30 a.m. And Dana just like, I've never even seen it happen. He just walks out like with his boys, like, we're going. Because, I mean, this was Friday night before the Sphere. So it's late and he's got to be up.
I mean, it's Saturday
minutes.
morning.
Yeah, Saturday
morning, 4:30.
And so he goes out, and because he's Dana White, the Dana White effect, he can just leave his markers there legally. If you're not Dana White, you have to sign a check that says I am liable for paying this money. So the chips were there the rest of the weekend. He hadn't come back. So like Saturday, they were still there and all of his markers. So I don't know exactly what happened there. But the vlog will be crazy. There's a lot of ups and downs, and then all of the Sphere content will be awesome. It's just one of the coolest fights, just experiences ever. And UFC, everyone's just so nice. I just don't understand like why we are getting placed like in the seats we are when there's like A+ list celebrities like sitting 3 rows behind us, and I'm like, yeah, what's up?
UFC takes care of the boys.
They really do, and Dana does an awesome job. But if we could do it for anything, not even just a fight, we should try and go to the Sphere for something. They have like interactive movies, or they'll have like what Mike was saying, like a safari, or it's like a journey through the cosmos type thing, and it's like an 1.5-hour movie. It is well worth going. I know Garrett's been there for Dead & Co, but I mean, it's just like, I feel like it is truly the 8th wonder of the world. Like you go in there and you're like, this is God's house. So it was cool. Loved it.
So hang on. Taylor's down a couple 100,000. Dana takes over for Taylor, down 2.8.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, we can talk about it more, or I can tell you.
Should we not say so people watch the vlog?
I say watch the vlog because there is some storylines in there that you
okay.
know.
All right,
I can tell
right.
you off the bus.
Okay, because now I am insanely curious how you get out of a hole like that.
And Robbie's sitting there when he was on 2.3, and I kept going back up to him with the camera because I wanted to get like his perspective, and you can just see it in his face that he's like, he feels like he's losing this money because it's like kind of like
it's
inevitably
like
it's for him.
Yeah,
and he's just like pacing and like ghost white, and like you can just feel the like stress in the air. It sucks being in those rooms. No one's having fun. Taylor's like, hey, let's get some claps in here, like come on, let's get the vibes up. And it's like, dude, that's like, 100 people's salaries right there on the table and 4 chips. But yeah, Vegas.
Well, yeah. Watch the vlog.
Yeah, watch the vlog.
Watch the vlog. Anything else, boys? Talked Husker football, the main thing. Save Will's birthday party. Yeah, that'll get figured out. Your boy's gonna be watching the Huskers on Friday, whether with people, without people, locked in a room solo. Doesn't matter.
I have a question for you, go, because I saw this on Twitter, and I want the answer from everybody. Do you prefer to watch your sports team alone?
Yes. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Because even when we were watching it on Saturday, like we have people over and stuff like that, and it's awesome. But I can't like hear the TV very well. I like to just be locked in and dialed in. I want to understand everything going on. I want to hear what's being said. I love the commentating, and I just like to be alone. You know what I mean? Because then you can't get off track on any side conversations anywhere else.
I feel like all of us too. We're like all perpetually on Twitter, and I love being like dialed into the narratives there, whether it's with your game or nothing.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to be
like,
watching the game, scrolling my phone. Like I want to be in it.
Yeah, make watching football alone cool again.
Yeah. Or just great. Maybe that's
Yeah, I will be in Nissan, ready to.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can go to the game.
yeah, you can go to the game. Yeah, absolutely. All right, sounds good, fellas. Hey, shout out Bonne Terre, Missouri.
Come on, wooden key.
Just again, the key to the city. Spectacular. Retired jersey. They said they were taking it out of the rotation after this year. Your boy was juiced, man.
Hey, lock up on Terry. You left it unlocked.
Bro, about to lose the key.
No, it was a great time. Appreciate you guys. Mike Chandler, we have him coming up. After this ad read, Mike was all time. This was a great conversation. Again, we're kind of getting all the insight, everything kind of behind the curtain that maybe he hasn't already said out there. Subscribe. Make sure you guys are leaving comments. Continue to show up for the boys. We're on a heater right now, and it truly is all because of you guys. But first, game time. Football season is here, and we can't wait to get out to some games this fall with the help of Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. You know how much we love Game Time, and now with their brand new Game Time Picks feature, they're making it even easier to get to a game. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Again, we have the 400th consecutive sellout coming up. I'm sure there are still tickets available on the Game Time app. Go buy those up if you're in Lincoln, Nebraska. Just pull up your chosen event, turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of the screen, and browse the best local Game Time Picks deals near you on your Game Time app homepage. What are you guys waiting for? Download the Game Time app today and use code BUSSIN, that's BUSSIN, to easily score great deals with the new Game Time Picks. What time is it?
Game time.
Let's do that again. What time is it?
Game time!
Enjoy this Michael Chandler episode. All right. Michael Chandler, we are fucking back, bro.
We're back, dude.
How you feeling since the announcement?
Good, man. I feel like I made this decision like 4 weeks ago. So I've known for a while, and it's always hard because you know what you're training for, you know my management knew, my wife knew, a couple of the select boys knew, but like now that the whole world knows, it's good because now we can finally, this one especially, because it's not just announcing a fight, it is foregoing the Conor fight for now, at least.
On from that for now.
Moving on from that from now. And, I'm happy with my decision. I'm happy with the opponent. Number one contender fight, 5-round co-main event underneath John Jones versus Stipe at MSG, which would be my 4th time at the world's most iconic arena.
I mean it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
John Jones coming back.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. I actually, because we were waffling back and forth. Like I knew I knew we were moving on from Conor for now, and I knew we were gonna fight Charles, but I was trying to get it at MSG. And my text to Hunter Campbell whenever he was like waffling back and forth, I was like, hey, 2021 Chandler versus Gaethje, fight of the night and fight of the year at Madison Square Garden. 2022 Chandler versus Poirier, candidate for fight of the year, fight of the night. Every single time I step inside MSG, I blow the roof off the place. And it was actually funny. I saw John Jones at the fights this last week, and he's like, hey, I know you're the co-main, but could you save some excitement for me in the main event? I was like, nah, probably not, man. I'm going to try to steal the show.
Are you fired up that it's at MSG?
I am. Actually, it's bittersweet because I've kept saying this. I've now fought in the UFC. This will be my 6th fight. And I have never fought in Vegas. So I've always wanted to fight in Vegas. That was one of the stings of this Conor fight falling through. It was going to be in Vegas, and I'll fight in Vegas eventually, but the boys are ready to fight in Vegas, man. I want to enjoy and take in a Vegas fight week,
Right. Outside of just sitting in the stands watching it happen.
Yeah, I've watched a ton of fights in Vegas, and so it's just different because the UFC takes over the entire city. Which, if you had a second best city like MSG, New York, the media, ESPN, like all of the Barstool, like all of the big media companies are there with a huge presence in New York. So you always end up with a ton of extra media, which is a ton of extra exposure. So that's a good thing. And it's MSG. Someday I'll be speaking from a stage or writing a book or something and be able to talk about how I fought at MSG, the world's most iconic arena, 4 times.
Yeah.
Which to me, I just told you I'd rather fight in Vegas, but someday when it's a story and where you're creating,
making people feel something. They're like, dang, this dude fought in the same vicinity as Muhammad Ali and freaking Tyson and De La Hoya and all those guys.
Madison Square Garden's got like that historic pull to it, where like Vegas, it's like any if you're a UFC fighter, like you want the big pay-per-view in Vegas.
Yeah, because
it's city.
Yeah, but MSG is iconic. It's
when
cool.
You said you made the decision 4 weeks ago, how long had that offer been on the table, or did it all come into fruition really quickly? Because obviously everyone knows it's been the 2 years in the making with Conor that kind of falls through. Walk us through that, about how that offer kind of came to you.
So we when the fight fell through 2 weeks before June 29th, it was like, June 15th or whatever it was. Immediately you start thinking, okay, is a broken pinky toe. We found out that. So it's like, hey, a broken pinky toe, we should be able to fight in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So immediately we're like, hey, no big deal. And Conor's camp was saying it's going to be quick. We're going to, hopefully schedule it for August, September. Then you start talking about the Sphere. You start talking about, Salt Lake City was thrown out there.
Let me interrupt you. Before you learned that it was like a broken pinky toe, and then like, hey, this could be quick and everything else, wasn't there a moment where you still might have fought on that June 29th weekend?
There was. So they actually offered it to Max Holloway, which he was on vacation and he wasn't in camp. I mean, to put your BMF belt up, with having no training camp, short notice, UFC will throw a lot of money at you, but is it the smartest thing for your career? In the position that Max is in, Max is already the BMF champ, and he's already number one contender to go fight for the 145 title, and he was steadfast and focused on going to win the 145 title. And in this sport, the sport moves fast in a very good way and sometimes in a very bad way. So if you're ever in a position where you can become the number one contender, you don't want to pass that up, because, just like Justin Gaethje's situation, Justin Gaethje probably would have been talking about fighting for the lightweight title, but now he lost to Max. So now he doesn't have the steam to go fight for the title. He's got to go get another win.
Yeah.
And then also, obviously that was June 29th. Now we just had this past weekend, UFC 306 at the Sphere. Merab versus O'Malley hadn't been announced yet. And there was talks of me and Max. They actually offered it to Max, fighting me for the BMF belt at the Sphere. And rightfully so. He turned it down because he wants to go win the title and he can go defend the BMF belt whenever. Right. So there was a lot of different moving parts going, but Charles Oliveira's name had gotten brought up. And it's a fight I want to run back. It's a vengeance fight. It's a number one contender fight. It puts me right back into the title contention. Obviously, the last year and a half, I've focused on doing The Ultimate Fighter, which is really, really awesome promotion on ESPN, 12 weeks, and then fighting the sport's biggest star, which doesn't exactly do great things for you athletically to move toward the title. So now I'm going to get back to my main thing, which is coming into the UFC. And I've always been wanting to be the number one guy in the world and fight for the world title, win the world title. So now that's where we're at. Fight Charles Oliveira, Madison Square Garden, beat him, become the number one contender. And then I have an option to go fight Islam, who I think is going to be still the champ by then, or Conor, if Conor can get his house in order.
Yeah, man, it's been the photo mic right there. Yeah, it's been such a roller coaster with the McGregor stuff. When did Oliveira's name come up to you? Because I would assume that, all right, whenever you realize that the Conor fight's getting punted, maybe, hopefully, just a few extra weeks, you're looking at September, and then you start to feel that, okay, he might not be prepared for way longer than that, because I'm almost assuming that when Oliveira's name gets brought up, it's almost like a no, like how do we get this Conor one going?
Yeah, it's definitely we wanted to exhaust all the options to fight Conor at a realistic date before we made a pivot. But then it just seemed as though it was going to keep getting pushed off. I mean, it was like, hey, if I could fight Conor in December, I'm not going to say yes to Oliveira. But as soon as that became a no for whatever reason, I'm like, man, boys, I'm not waiting any longer. Let me go bet on myself. And this is it's been my brand, obviously, the walk-on mentality, betting on yourself. Because back in 2004, the young kid from St. Louis, Missouri, bet on himself to go walk on to Mizzou when everybody around me said, don't do it. You're crazy. What are you thinking? You're just going to be a punching bag for 5 years, end up becoming an All-American and a 4-year national qualifier and a 3-year team captain.
Let's go.
And so I bet on myself and it worked out. And then I also, the 34-year-old me in 2020, the 34-year-old me in 2020 bet on himself to say, you know what? I love what I've done in Bellator. I'm the biggest name in Bellator. I know it's a smaller organization, but I have financial security. I I have career security, but I want to go bet on myself. And I told Hunter Campbell that. I said, hey, throw me into the fire right away. I'm going to come over to the UFC. I want to be a good thing for your organization. I want to fight the toughest guys right away. And if I go 0-2 and you guys cut me, I can at least know that I tried to bet on myself and take the biggest risk possible. And now obviously coming into the UFC, here I am fighting for the number one contender spot again, fights of the year, fought for a world title, going to end up fighting for a world title in 2025 with this win. Betting on myself has always worked out. So in this scenario where I have a contract with Conor that was already signed, all the fighters in the world who have crapped on me and said I'm waiting and wasting my time and all of the different things that they've said, behind closed doors, in their heart of hearts, they know that they would not have bet on themselves and left this matching up with Conor. They would have waited as long as possible. But I'm done waiting, and I'm ready to go out there, take a chance, let it fly, and bet on myself.
How weird was it for you? Because obviously the last year and a half has been kind of a new process for you. You talk about like betting on yourself. Like even when you came into the UFC, you're flying and making sure you're prepared, making weight in case you're a backup fight. Hey, throw me against whoever. You face Hooker coming out, have a big win there. You're facing all these badasses along the way as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. How new was it for you to kind of like sit, be patient? And the world speculates and talks. I mean, you talk about Conor being the biggest name. He's also like a public like favorite too. So anything that comes up, it gets pushed back. You try to call him out. You got people pushing every which way on like why, Mike's going to wait for Conor. He's going to do all this stuff. How hard was it for you to kind of wait this last year and a half, especially what you knew behind closed doors? Yeah. Because you're thinking that it's going to make right at some point, but for whatever reason, it didn't come into fruition right now. How tough was it for you to kind of sit in the batter's box this last year and a half and not go out there and do what you normally do? Yeah, it was, I had my days where I struggled. We've had conversations where it's like, everything's good. And then the next time it's like, dude, I don't know what's happening. Conor tweeted this. The whole world ran with it. This guy's talking. There was the whole drug testing thing at the very beginning, had to be inside the USADA pool and all that kind of stuff. There was just so many different layers. And that's what Hunter Campbell said at the very beginning was like, hey, we're going to do this Ultimate Fighter thing, but just I want you to be prepared. Booking a fight with Conor McGregor is like nothing you've ever done before. It's not normal. And I held on tight. And I also enjoyed the time off. Excuse me. I also enjoyed the time off, honestly. I think no matter how much you love a sport, it can chew you up and spit you out and chip away at your spirit and your soul. As you know, like today I leave and go to Florida. I'm going to leave my family for the next 8 weeks, right? And doing that every couple months, nonstop, watching my sons grow, missing bedtimes and missing dinners with them and missing sporting events and missing all these things. You do it so much and you're constantly going and you're very happy because God has called you to do something, but you also are constantly dealing with am I always making the right decision? Dealing with the dad guilt, dealing with the husband guilt. So I needed a little bit of time off. So I spent the last year and a half serving my family, loving on my family, working on my businesses outside of just fighting, setting myself up for after I lay the gloves down eventually. And it was good for my soul. And obviously I had a litmus test April, May, and June to go train for Conor, and it fell through, but it was the best training camp of my life because I fell back in love with the sport. As cliche as it sounds, you don't know how much you love something until it's taken away from you. So being away from the sport for a year and a half, I was happy. I needed a little bit of time off, but it also made me love the sport more. It made me love my coaches more. It made me love the process more. It made me love what I get to do more. So I grew as an individual in that time. And then now I get to go let it fly and fight one of the scariest dudes on the planet, Charles Oliveira, most submission wins in the UFC history. And it was an interesting process like nobody else would have gone through. Even speaking to my manager, he's like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 something years and I've never been in a situation like this. I sometimes don't even know how to advise you because I don't know what the right answer is, so you're kind of get stuck in a scenario where you don't know what the right answer is. But sometimes if you have patience, the right answer will reveal itself to you in due time. And here we are. And now November 16th, we get after it. Yeah, I have so many different routes to go, but you just mentioned Oliveira. What do you feel like you've learned since the last time you fought him? Because that was it'll be essentially a few years ago since you fought him. And also just the maturation process of who I am as an individual and fighter.
for better or worse, you know, I needed to come into the UFC and stake my claim and prove myself, right? And now I have proven myself. So Chandler 1.0 was come into the UFC, prove the doubters wrong that this Bellator dude can't come in and compete with the best guys in the world.
Right.
Obviously, I have done that. Win, lose, or draw, it's a great fight. Win, lose, or draw, I've hurt everybody that I've fought. Win, lose, or draw, I'm getting fight of the night. Win, lose, or draw, you're on the edge of your seat when Michael Chandler steps inside the octagon, right? And now Chandler 2.0 is, okay, I had an opportunity to step back, fall back in love with the sport, and now I truly believe now more than ever that it's time for me to go win the title. So fighting Oliveira puts me in that position, and then Islam is next, then maybe Max, or if Conor at any given time can get his stuff together, I'll fight him. So I'm just excited to fight differently. I know the mistakes I made. It was my second fight in the UFC. Just had a crazy knockout of Dan Hooker a couple months before that. I got thrown into that training camp. I essentially had 3 weeks off between training camps when Hunter called me and said, hey, you're fighting Oliveira in Houston for the title. So I went right back into training camp and I was just going and going and going. And I didn't have a lot of time to fill up my cup enough and fill up my mental enough to really fight the way that I needed to fight to win. I needed to go out there and just try to put a beating on somebody. And that's been a lot of fun thus far, but Chandler 2.0 is coming for, not just for blood, but coming for the title.
So is there a different Chandler 2.0, a different kind of maybe strategy, I guess, about it? Because if you look at like Chandler Gaethje, you know it's going to be explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler Poirier, you know it's going to be explosive on their feet. Chandler McGregor, you know it's going to probably be on the feet and explosive. Like Oliveira is kind of an unorthodox, kind of a weirder fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, you've been on the bus before and we've talked about, hey, you know, you're pretty good at wrestling too. Like, are we seeing
the whole
like
world is like Chandler?
more of a heady, more of a heady Chandler? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, but it's still even at my most strategic and even at my most veteran and even at my most smart, I'm still going to be the most violent guy who does it that way, right?
Yeah.
Because I love the violence. I have the explosiveness. I have the skills, and I know I can go out there and finish anybody in the first round. So immediately, just like I always do, I'm still going to put pressure right away. I'm still going to be in your face for 25 minutes. I'm still going to make you second guess yourself and fight off of your back foot because I want to be in control. I'm always going to be in control, but I think there's just been a different set of decision making and a different set of game plan that I looked at in this last training camp because I realized the opportunity. I'm in the best position in the sport of mixed martial arts right now. If you look at it, the fighting this number one contender fight, having a contract already signed and connected to with Conor McGregor for the Ultimate Fighter. So I have nothing but huge fights coming up. So yeah, that gets me excited to go out there and entertain, but it also gets me excited to go out and show and prove that I'm the best fighter in the world at 155 pounds. So I'm going to show that on November 16th. But it's still going to be violent and it's still going to be fun. So you guys better buy the pay-per-view.
We interrupt this episode to bring you something near and dear to our hearts. That is Mountain Dew. And you know what we all need to get more of? Off of our asses. With bold flavors and a refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will get you off your ass and have you feeling like you're an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. Nothing is better than beating your boy's ass, whether it be washers. You guys played washers? Cornhole, whatever. In between, get outside, beat your boy's ass with a refreshing Mountain Dew. The mountain is calling and you should answer. Grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and do the do. Back to the episode. Do you ever think about the roster being pissed off that you get a number one contender?
Yep.
Like you get this fight, you win, you're the number one contender.
Yep.
Then you could essentially either go for the belt, go for Conor. Do you ever think about the roster kind of getting pissed off about stuff like that? Do fighters think about that stuff?
I don't, because people can have their opinions all they want, and everybody can play the oh woe is me game, but just why don't you show up and become a person of value? And when you show up and become a person of value and not worry about the people trying to pull people down and just try to elevate yourself, it doesn't really bother me, because I know I'm in the position that I'm in, whether it be happenstance, luck, good relationships, good favor, whatever it may be. But it's funny, the harder I work and the better of a human being I am, the luckier I get. You know, it's funny how it always works out that way. And now we're in this position, and the UFC doesn't care either. It's like, hey, this fight makes sense for us. This is a rematch. This is a vengeance fight. Charles Oliveira versus Chandler 1 was a huge fight. A lot of parity, almost finished him in the first round. He comes back and beats me in the second round because I made some mistakes that I will not make again. And it's a fight that everyone wants to see. And it's a dangerous fight. It scares the hell out of me, man. Like Charles Oliveira can choke all 7 of us out right now. If you make the wrong decision, you know, so it's like, it's a scary fight. And those are the type of circumstances I like. I like opportunities in which the likelihood of failure is higher than I'm comfortable with. And those are the type of fights I want, not just in the octagon, but in life. Because I like to throw myself into the fire, and you know, that's the difference between me and a lot of fighters, and that's why I keep getting rewarded because of it.
When backing up and you're alluding to falling out of love, like with the sport, with the game and everything else, like what plays into that? Obviously you talked about your dad guilt, husband guilt earlier on. Do you think about the wear and tear just with your age too? Like what are the things that goes on that kind of make you fall out of love with the sport?
I think it's just the time. It's just it's such a funny thing too, right? Well, football and just in sports in general, every sport, like people will just crap on you, not realizing that you're a human being, not realizing the sacrifices that you make day in and day out. And you have the same doubts and fears and insecurities as everybody else, right? So we're human beings, but with me, I take it so seriously and I pour myself so fully into it that I become a different human being for a couple month period. And I love being that person. I love that God created me that way. And then I have also created myself into that type of man, but it takes a toll on you because you feel like you're missing out on life sometimes. And then when you bring children into it and a wife and all these things, you feel like it's the constant tug and pull between doing what you need to do, but also doing what you want to do. And I feel like when you're constantly grinding, I mean, in a 25-month period, I had six training camps, 5 fights. Every single fight was do or die. Every single fight was huge. Every single fight was a main event or a co-main event, and you're fighting the toughest, scariest guys in the world. So you can become jaded by it because you look back and you think, man, it's been two years, and all I've done is pour myself into this. So it can just chip away at your passion for the sport, and you know, just constantly being away from my family down in Florida. I love my team, and I know it's the best team ever. And thank God, I love my coaches. I love my training partners. I love our facility. But that 2 training camps ago, when I walked in there, I was like, man, here we go again. These 4 walls and these guys and this, and I got 4 hours of training today, and then I got to do it 6 days this week. And
do you ever think too? I appreciate you sharing. Do you ever think too, like, I don't want it as bad as I used to? And I asked that, and I'm not putting you in a spot.
No,
it's
like,
fine. To you saying
question.
like, no, I don't want it. But even perspective for myself, like going through it, like when we were, you know, it was like year 8, year 9, year 10, like having the fun with it that I was having, but just showing up into, again, those same 4 walls and just kind of knowing in the back of my mind, I really just don't want this as bad as my young self did. And I know sacrificing for this sport, sacrificing for like the character and the individual and the person that I wanted to create in this sport, you almost feel like you're doing yourself a disservice by feeling that way. I felt a little guilt when I would go about it like that, knowing that I was, you know, I still like loved playing the game, but I didn't love it the same way. I didn't want to like grit my teeth. I didn't want to have to like make a 53-man roster, like throw myself at the bottom of a depth chart, try to become a starter. I kind of like lost that mentality, but at the same time, I was also able to relieve myself of all that expectation and pressure because I was getting these chances later in my career. And so I got to like just enjoy playing the game that I grew up loving versus all of that business on top of it. So that's kind of like why I was asking you, like you show up and you're like, do I really want this as like I used to? Yeah.
Well, and that's where, and I think for me now having the clarity of having a year away from it and enjoying things outside of just fighting, spending more time with friends and family and loved ones, but also still always staying in shape. You can start to question it. Think like, man, well, when I was 25, I used to come into a training camp and be all pumped up, and I am pumped up still, like crazy good pumped up. At 38 years old, I leave for Florida today.
38, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. But I feel like I'm 28. That's the thing. I definitely feel like I still have it. I definitely feel like I'm the best guy in the world. I definitely feel like I'm going to beat Charles Oliveira. Because this is a game of millimeters, man, and any of us can beat each other on any given night.
And you can't step in that octagon second guessing or half-assing anything because it's you versus somebody else in a fucking war.
Yeah, well, and that's the good thing that I always am able to rely upon is I know I do the right things. I leave no stone unturned. I have I flex my discipline muscle every single day, and I do things by the book and do it as perfectly as I possibly can. So I know when it's time to show up and start training camp, I know I'm going to show up. So there was moments where I questioned it and thought, man, you used to love this more than you did. But really, I think it was just the wear and tear of the nonstop, the mental wear and tear.
The thinking of stuff that's
nonstop.
going on outside of the four walls.
Yeah, and just the nonstop. Man, I just need a break. I need a break. And then finally, I was almost forced to get a break, which is really funny because Brian Smith, our head coach at Mizzou, tells a story about how I was one of the first guys that he finally had to actually pull out of practice and kick out of practice and say, no, you can't train today. We need you.
Because wrestling's.
Yeah. It was like, man, he would notice that my performances would suffer, but it was because I was overtraining or I was going too hard or I would show up and do extra things that I was not asked to do. But I'm like, hey, coach, I was a walk-on kid. I'm still that walk-on kid. I have to do more or else I'm not going to be able to beat these guys. You know, I'm wrestling against Jordan Burroughs and Mike Poeta and Jordan Lee and these top guys. I have to do extra or else. And he's like, no, man, you're taking 2 days off this week. And I'm like, wait, so that everyone's going to be at practice and I'm not going to be at practice? And he's like, no, yes, you're going to be off Wednesday and Thursday because we need you to rest up. So it's kind of awesome how the sport pulled me out of it. The sport, Brian Smith me, pulled me out to make me love the sport even more. And I've got a new lease on life and I have a new passion. So I'm excited to go into this training camp. As much as it sucks the first week where it's a new transition and you're missing the family. And I cried this morning, freaking dropping Hap off at school. It's just like, it's just a part of it all.
You were talking about like getting back into it. Was there like a moment where you started to gain more clarity in falling back in love with the sport? Like the process, was it the people you were around? Was it something maybe your wife said? Was it something that allowed you? It's like the Rocky 2 moment where they're having the baby. He's kind of half-ass training, but they have the baby and his wife looks at him. She's like, go do it. And then all of a sudden the Rocky montage goes off.
Yeah.
Was there like a moment for you of that clarity of like falling back in love with the grind and the sport?
I think it was just when I got back to this last training camp that ended in not the reward. I did all the work but didn't get the reward. Yet I still look back and think, man, every single day I couldn't wait to wake up. I was getting to practice an hour early to just work on little things or just to be there and watch other guys. You know, it's like, it's funny how as a 38-year-old veteran and team captain down in Florida, I'm the guy who's looked at as I'm the highest ranked guy, the biggest name on our team roster, right? So I'm looked at like that guy. So the last couple training camps, it was just like, hey, everybody looked at me that way, but I didn't look at other guys that way and excited about watching this 22-year-old kid chasing his dream and watching this 25-year-old kid fighting for the title in this other organization and this. So I was just so focused on myself because I had to go do it. But then this last training camp, I found myself getting to practice early, watching the younger guys, helping out the younger guys, being a part of
feeling that hunger.
Yeah, being a part of more, and like thinking, man, I lost a little bit of the passion for all of that and the love of the sport. And then just pouring into people more too. You know, Zig Ziglar says you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want in life. So I was of service more this last training camp, and I'm excited to go down there and do that this week and then get back to it and be the guy there and continue to show the young guys that, hey, yes, I have accomplished more than maybe you'll ever accomplish in your entire career, but it still always goes back to the hard work and the discipline and doing things right and showing up early and doing more than was asked of you and being of service. So I think it was just this last training camp, the entire process, every single day, working out 3 times a day and working on things more, watching more film and fully immersing myself in it and doing the media and, you know, having time to still FaceTime the family and doing stuff. So,
well, you were also flying, you guys were flying out there too. Like one thing that you were doing in the last training camp, not to flex, but also flex, is flying private. So that way you gain those hours and time with the family when you were present with them.
47 extra waking hours I got last camp with my family. So almost 2 full days with my family to get there, a couple extra hours home on Friday and be able to leave a couple extra hours late on Sunday. And just because those are times you can't ever get back, man. And it's a weird tug and pull of, if I can do it, I want to do it. If I can make it happen, I want to make it happen because I know that I will perform better if I know I did as much as I possibly could as
Fill that
a
bucket
fighter.
up with the family. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I will perform better. And it's almost just like, okay, all I got to do, Monday morning I wake up, I hit the ground running, go hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By Thursday, I'm excited that I get to one more practice, train really hard, get home, see the family, maybe do one session on the weekends or a recovery session. But yeah, not the flex, but the flex.
Yeah.
That was a good situation.
We got the PJ a couple weeks ago with the Nebraska.
I tell you what,
it was awesome.
It's a time machine, man. And it's time in this season of my life. It's time that I won't ever be able to get back. And it made me love the sport even more. So this camp will be no different.
Let's play the game. You win this fight. Which one would you rather? Say they're both there for you.
We sat on the bus and I sat right there and we had this same question.
Yeah, title?
Yeah.
McGregor.
Yeah. Well,
because there's clearly, and just to like call the elephant in the room as well, it's like you face somebody like Conor, like that's different style. That's a different type of money that you can go after.
mm-hmm.
The title is a different, all of those factors play in your mind, but you beat Oliveira. Now, Conor now realizes the machine goes on without him. So whatever he's got to get going on in his house, that the game's not going to wait on him, he's got to figure out. So hopefully force his hand to fight you.
Yeah.
But which one?
He's definitely realized that the sport will continue to move on without him. And I think he never thought I would move on. I think he always thought, well, Chandler's
You could tell by his presser the other night.
at bare knuckle.
By him saying, oh, I'm kind of out of the loop. It's like, in my mind, the stuff that just I know and have watched from afar as well, it's almost like, no, bro, you are in the loop. You do know. Like, if anything, you hold the key. You've held the key the whole time to do it. And everybody knows that. And you can kind of see that he felt some type of way that you are taking this fight and that he's kind of watching it. Him trying to say that the UFC kind of left him out of the loop. It's like, no, you're just upset to see that it's going to go on no matter if you want to or not. You want it to or not.
The UFC needs nobody. The UFC will continue to build stars, continue to put on shows every single weekend, continue to keep pushing the envelope and growing, whether they have Conor, me, or anybody else. And there's a freedom in knowing that you're disposable. There's a freedom in that, knowing that you don't get too high on yourself, because success is rented every single day, and that rent is due every single day. Talk to him, man. And that's in our industry, your industry, or everybody else's industry that's listening. But yeah, I think the funny thing is he definitely did not know, because ultimately he's not a trusted individual with information. If they called him 2 weeks ago and said, hey, just so you know, we're going to announce Chandler versus Oliveira, he's moving on, it would have leaked. He would have done his own video, like the swirling of the wine whenever he announced that me and him were going to fight June 29th. And I called Hunter and I was like, hey, dude, you want me to corroborate this and like come out and say, this is true? And he's like, no, dude, that's just Conor being Conor. I effing told this guy to shut his mouth and not say anything. So, and Conor has earned that position. If that's the way Conor wants to be and how he wants to do it, that's fine. I'm completely different. I've known for 4 weeks and haven't said anything, because I do my job. I have a job to do. And if my word is my bond, and if your word is no good, then eventually you are no good. So I think, like you said, Conor is now abreast to the situation. I'm fighting Oliveira. If I had the option, I do have that unfinished business with Conor. It's the fight that I want. It's the fight that needs to happen. Chandler versus Conor happens in 2025, whether, it's the first quarter of 2025. And if it gets pushed off any further, I'm definitely fighting for the title next. That's what I want anyway. The way I look at it is, I'm not going to say the Conor fight's always going to be there, but the Conor fight is always in limbo. So even if they would have said, hey, you can fight Conor in February or January or whatever, I probably still would have just fought Oliveira, because the last thing I want is 12 weeks before they call me and say, hey, never mind, we're pushing it to International Fight Week. We're pushing it to this. We're pushing, because that's how it was over the last year and a half. So I deserve security, or I deserve concrete dates and a concrete opponent. That's what Charles Oliveira is. That's what most of the other guys are on the roster. Conor is not that right now. He's a little bit too unreliable when it comes to when he's coming back, and maybe that's the position he wants to be in. That's fine. But I got a job to do, and I got a title to win, and I do believe I beat Islam Makhachev first quarter of 2025, and I'll probably make that decision to go make that fight happen, unless Conor can show that he's got his house in order.
We interrupt this episode to bring you DraftKings. TD Tutty taking it to the house, in for 6, whatever you call a touchdown. Touchdowns matter more at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. On the ground, in the air, from special teams or defense, we don't care how they score them. We want to bet on touchdowns. And DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet on touchdowns. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your bet today. Ready to do a touchdown dance on your own? The new DraftKings customers get $5 to get $250 in bonus bets instantly and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code BUS. That's code BUS, B-U-S, for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours, gentlemen. Back to this episode. So even you taking the Oliveira fight too, it sounds like nothing was still even close to end of the year with Conor or early in 2025.
I don't think so. Well, they said early 2025 was, the target. And to me, I'm like, man,
for what reasoning? Like what's the, especially like in the beginning when you hear like when the June 29th date gets punted to, hey, this could be like a 6 to 10 week thing. Like this could be a quick recovery. Like what is taking in your brain? Obviously you don't know all the perfect information on that end, but in your brain, like what is taking so long? Is it finding some certain date with the UFC on a big pay-per-view? Is it him trying to leverage something business-wise, money-wise?
All of that stuff is in play, I think. And yes, it's widely known. There's only 12 months in a year, which is 12 to maybe 13 pay-per-views they do per year. Of those 13, only 5 or 6 of them are in Vegas. Maybe 8 of them are in Vegas. He needs to fight in Vegas or Madison Square Garden. Those are usually the two kind of locations that he fights at. So you just whittle it all down to the options that you have, and all of a sudden things get pushed. So that's part of it. The other big question is Conor ever going to come back? Is he ever going to come back? Does he still have it? Does he believe that he can still do it? I think he does, but does he actually care enough and love the sport enough? It's one thing to sign a contract. It's one thing to say you're coming back, the greatest comeback in combat sports history. It's another thing to go through the grind. It's another thing to put a 12-week training camp together. It's another thing to actually show up to practice every single day. And then even if you do, then you got to look at, checking the boxes, the pros and cons of, man, how well did I do today? Are my legs working well? Am I still fast? I stand firm in my conviction that if Conor McGregor was lined up against anybody else June 29th, not named Michael Chandler, he would have fought with a broken pinky toe. I think I bring something different to the octagon. I think he signed a check in January of 2023 that his ass couldn't cash because I think he just thought, I don't want to fight this guy. He might beat me, but you're going to leave the octagon hurt no matter what. That's the thing. You fight me, you might beat me, but it's going to be a hard fought battle, and you are going to leave limping, and you're going to leave with a busted lip and a black eye and some stitches.
Yeah.
You're going to get hurt. So that's my take on it. But I think it's a couple of those things. The lack of dates that Conor can actually fight, and his propensity and willingness to actually show that he wants to put together a training camp. And
right, over all the other things that he has going, because he does a lot of shit.
The UFC losing a ton of money on that last fight. I mean, we broke the gate record, and then they had to issue refunds and probably got sued a couple times because of hotels and this and that and all these other things. Like the UFC, who is a publicly traded company, TKO Group, Endeavor, all these guys. It's like, hey, we got to look at this. Yes, Conor brings a lot of eyeballs, and probably we make a lot of money when Conor fights, but we'll do just fine without him. So he better show us that he's going to show up. And same thing with me. When you ask who you want to fight, Islam will always show up. Oliveira will always show up. Poirier will always show up. Gaethje will always show up. Unless these guys cannot physically walk to the octagon, they are fighters. We are fighters. We will show up. Is Conor that guy anymore? We don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever had a broken pinky toe?
I haven't. I've not had.
I shattered my big toe not too long ago.
Oh, we got to talk about that, dude. Was it broken?
I mean, it was something.
It was black and blue.
Yes.
Within a day, right?
And I would say if Conor had anything like that, I can understand and empathize a little bit with that. I still showed up the next day and performed at a very high level.
Very high level.
But that was a painful one. We just walked in. AC stuff.
Oh, we're getting AC.
Shout out Eighth and Roast, by the way. No free shout outs.
Shout out Eighth and Roast. And ACs.
Dude,
Go back to the bus at the very beginning. We had no AC,
no AC,
no
that's
heat,
right, bro.
no nothing, dude.
He was on
back
here.
there by the train tracks.
We ripped the shooter right before we came on the bus. You remember that?
Oh, we
pulled up in the
did.
truck. We ripped the shooter.
Yeah, what
We
was
had
that?
the tarps on. I want to say that was Shaw. Shab.
Oh,
we
yeah,
ripped
it
a couple
was.
Fireballs right before we got on the bus.
That's right. Shout out, no free shout out. I got Shab on the bus.
Yeah. No free shout out. But yeah, that was back in the gritty days.
Dude, just a couple kids with a dream, man. Now you guys are all sitting pretty, man. You
We
guys
got
should
our-
see out here, man. It looks like a mansion, man. It looks like a beautiful.
We got
I
that.
mean, like,
that
the boys
set
have
is
grown up.
awesome.
The set
the
is
locker
the set
room.
is sick.
That set is sick, bro.
But you guys deserve it, man. You guys are freaking kicking.
I appreciate
kicking
that,
ass,
man. Yo,
Good
how
stuff.
sick was the Sphere?
The Sphere was cool. It was different, you know. I'm not gonna say it was like it was really, really cool being inside of it. Mexican Independence Day, I was almost too close to the screen. Like if you were
And
out,
everybody pretty much too close.
Well,
that thing's just on top.
well,
of you, bro.
I was sitting here looking at the octagon, and behind the screen was behind me. So the screen was only like
okay.
15 feet behind me. So I had to like turn around and look all the way up. I almost fell backwards off the railing one day, or one part of it, when I was trying to get a full glimpse of the promos that they were doing. It was really cool. It was very light in there. So it felt different, but it was a really, really freaking cool show, man. There's no way Dana's not going back to the Sphere. He'll probably go back to the Sphere.
You think it'll kind of be like an annual thing?
I would think so. It's all based on dates and stuff. You know, there was a big dispute this last time because Canelo fought the same night,
Yeah, that's
right down the road, and you know, it's
Did he win?
Dude, I don't even know.
Did Canelo
I
win?
saw Caleb Plant was fighting too.
he had to. I mean, he had to have won, or else we probably all would have heard about it.
Yeah,
Because Canelo
that's
is
true.
the
That's a
most
good point.
ridiculous boxer on the planet. But it was fun, man. It was cool. You know, I think Sean O'Malley losing was very interesting.
What happened there? I wish I could have. The Huskers played. Now your boy's on dad duty too,
Had
so
to, bro.
I was asleep after the Husker game was over. Shout out the Skurs.
I think O'Malley just couldn't get anything done, man. As I said before we started recording, I think Merab's style is the hardest to fight in the entire world. Unlimited gas tank. He's not a great striker. He's not a really, really great grappler from a getting submissions type of guy, but he will pick you up and put you down. He will wear you out. And there's nothing harder to fight than a guy, wrestling or fighting, where a guy just will not stop coming forward, will not stop putting pressure on you. And O'Malley just wasn't able to get things done, whether he had a bad night or it was flat, or he was flat, or it was just Merab not ever letting him plant his feet, not ever be able to see stuff. You could see that Sean was visibly rattled. But Merab's a hard style.
It sounds like it was a boring fight because I saw the boy Dana come out on the presser talking like it seemed like every fan had a great time. I hope everybody watching, they got new fans up until that co-main event.
He's like, oh, up until the co-main event?
Yeah. He's
So,
like,
yeah.
I think everybody had a great time.
Turn their TV off.
Yeah. I hope they turn their
Did
TV
you
off
really?
before the co-main
Ooh,
event. Yeah.
that's tough. The co-main event, yeah, I mean, Shevchenko, which I had her winning. She's one of my favorite girl fighters. Alexa Grasso didn't look bad. I think Shevchenko it was time for her to get that belt back. She's a woman possessed. And then the rest of the card was really, I mean, Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez now has cemented himself inside the top 5, top 3, probably gonna end up fighting for a title in the next 2 fights. So it was fun. It's good.
Do you,
good card.
as a fighter, you hear Dana say something like that. Does anything go through your mind?
Dana's
Are
never.
you kind of just like, fuck, like, it is what it is. I kind of performed with what I was given. Type of thing,
Yeah.
type of
Luckily,
mentality.
Dana's never said anything like that about my fights. If anything, he's like, Chandler's the Arturo Gatti of UFC. He's a freaking crazy.
You got the good
You know,
compliments.
I've got some good ones.
But if you had that,
and I earned it. But also, yeah, I mean, that's a tough spot, because Dana's opinion is not the end all be all necessarily, but it's no different than if it was freaking, your head coach comes out and says something about the defense or the offense or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, well, damn, coach, like, I'm trying the best I can, but still, we're all fallible human beings, and we have bad nights, we have bad performances. As long as you look like you fought hard, you can have a bad performance but still fight hard, still lose. It's all about effort, just like anything in life, because the entertainment value and just the effort is so much more important than the X's and the O's sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I it was still fun for me. I thought it was still a great card. I think the fans got what they paid for. Whether you were inside the Sphere or outside the Sphere, inside the Sphere was ridiculous. Walking in from our perspective, I think you guys saw the video that Taylor posted as he like walked out, and it's almost like it just engulfs you, you know. So the Sphere is cool, and I've also heard you can bring kids there and do cool safari looking,
Seems like they do
outer
everything
space thing. I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, because my kids would love that. Rue would freaking eat it up.
Yeah.
As long as she can handle the sensory overload. I don't know if
Right.
it might be too much, like
And it feels like it's too much walking in there. I would have loved to have been there. Jack was there.
Yeah.
What was it like, your experience walking into the Sphere? Like from a fan experience standpoint, I'm sure it was awesome. Like, talk about how different it is watching a fight in Vegas versus like having the Sphere just on top of you the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly how it was going to pan out while the fights were going on, like if there's going to be activations going on, but they did a really good job between each fight. It was almost like a Mortal Kombat style like background. Each fight had its own different backdrop, and it was obviously all Mexican themed, so like some would be in the jungle and then others would be like ruined cities. But what like Mike said, when you just walk in onto the floor, it's just like everything is all around you, and it's hard to take in at first, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way I can describe it. It is beautiful.
the clarity. Yeah, I mean the clarity that you can have those screens that are 1,000 foot tall and freaking it looks like it's your LCD screen in your living room. It's pretty cool.
And before they jumped into the full activations of like the backgrounds, they had this kind of like cage style like view where it almost looked real. It was like these steel bars, and then all of a sudden it all opened up into like the actual atmosphere of it all. But yeah, I guess from a Vegas fight at T-Mobile Arena to the Sphere, it's so big and open that maybe some of that noise gets pumped out of it, or it just kind of travels up.
It did audibly sound a lot quieter.
Yeah,
in there.
especially in that Sean fight and Shevchenko fight when they were on the ground. It was just like for a few minutes, it just felt like you could hear a pin drop. But
compared to T-Mobile.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, anytime we have an opportunity to go back to the Sphere, I will drop everything I can to be there.
Were you on the side where the Sphere is behind the octagon, or was the Sphere behind?
I was like
or the screen behind
dead
you?
on the center of the ring, or the octagon. Like I had the best seat I could have possibly had. So it was cool. I thought they did you never know with those kind of things. Dana wants to be the greatest promoter on earth, and he very well is, but you don't know if it's going to be a flop or not. And from an entertainment perspective, I thought that fans got all their money's worth just from the experience of all the Mexican independent stuff. And so I thought it was an awesome thing to experience. I don't know if they'll do another one just because I know how much money it costs. I think Dana said it was like $20 million, and who knows if they broke over that. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder how hopefully the bottom line worked out for them to where they feel good about doing it.
Yeah, they
again.
said they were trying to hit like 22.5, but I don't know.
Yeah, and that picture was where I was sitting. I was up on that first little rafter, which was probably, in my opinion, the best fight, because I was probably a little bit further away than you guys were, but I was elevated, so I was like eye level with the fighter. So it was cool. But I was also so close to the screen that it was kind of like the screen wasn't as much in play for me, because it was behind me.
Yeah. Working with Hunter and Dana throughout the entire process. How were they with you throughout McGregor or going to Oliveira?
They were awesome, man. I mean, I'm sure
just as frustrated as you were at times.
Yeah, and we have such a good relationship where it's like, hey, listen, I wish we could do this, but we can't. Or this doesn't make sense for us as a company. You're my guy. I want to make this happen, but we can't do this. But then when I ask for something, and then they're like, oh, you know what? Forget it, man. We'll make it happen. We're gonna make it happen for you. Like we've had a really good relationship, and I think it's a testament to, they know they can trust me to be a good dude, and they know they can trust me to show up, and they know they can trust me to show up when the lights come on and put on a great fight. So when you have that kind of relationship, that kind of asset inside of the company, then it's very easy to get things done. It's not always the answer you want to hear, but it's portrayed in a way like, hey, if we can make it something happen for you, we're going to make it happen. And they were always in constant contact. As you alluded to earlier, I had enough reassurances behind the scenes that the fight was going to eventually get booked, up until finally it got booked, and then obviously it ultimately fell through. But they were always in constant contact with me, and we always made it happen, even though, you know, sometimes it'd be weeks that would go by without us talking, and I just got my job to do, which is stay in shape and get ready for the fight whenever it did happen.
Yeah. So you have some fun with a twisted question. JP, do you have anything? I know you're our UFC expert, our UFC analyst. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know if I missed anything. I know you're deep. You're deep in the cut when it comes to UFC.
You're deep in the cut, dude.
All right. Twisted tea. Refreshing twisted tea. Do we have the
We sure do.
I love it. All right, refreshing hard iced tea made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol, full of flavor and very refreshing. It goes down smooth and there is zero carbonation, which makes it easy to drink all day long. It was Chandler's favorite when he was at Mizzou. It is the perfect beverage or alcohol for game day, whether tailgating in the parking lot, watching at a bar, watching at home with your friends. Twisted tea is there to turn up your game day. Keep it twisted with the boys and grab a refreshing twisted tea today. Mike, this twisted question for you is... Number one, do you have enemies? Like, do you have somebody you hate? If I say, do you have somebody you hate, does somebody flash in your mind? You don't have to say who.
Sure, yeah.
All right. The twisted question is, you receive $1 million, but your worst enemy would receive $5 million. Do you take the money?
Yes.
Let's say you receive $500,000 and they receive $5 million.
Ooh.
Because I'm with you on the $1 million. I think you get a chance to get $1 million. You take $1 million
because it's free money. And,
it's free money.
And one of the craziest things about money too, you got to put your mindset around it, is like there's enough to go around, and just because you make money doesn't mean that I can't make money,
right?
Unless we're directly competing for one certain thing,
right?
So I'm like, I'll take the money all day long because I don't care. First of all, that person, if I don't like them that much, they're probably not that great. They're probably gonna squander it and have bad luck befall them anyway. And I'm a good dude, so good things are gonna keep happening to me. So I'll take the $1 million and let them have 5 and probably end up losing it all.
What about the $250,000?
Oh shoot, yeah, I'll probably still take it.
$100
bucks,
100,000.
Yes, might as well.
Everyone's $50K and they get $200K.
You get $50K, they get $200K. Well, he's saying yeah with.
I think I say yeah no matter what, because I'm like, I think it's a good exercise in confident expectancy and like the law of attraction or whatever, to be like, hey, I'll take what I can get and I'll take something good, even if it means someone else gets something, because I'm not worried about anything else anybody else has.
Yeah,
but it would be tough.
And if your enemy was listening, it's more one of those things like they probably need it more than I do.
Yeah, I've yeah.
Who is it?
Can't tell you. Yeah.
What are y'all doing? Everybody's taking it, I assume.
Yeah.
Mitch, you get $10,000. Your worst enemy gets $100,000.
I don't know if I hate anybody that.
That's what I'm saying. When Taylor was asking me, I think we did this question too, or something similar, like on the plane when we did our twisted adventure with Nebraska and Michigan. But I was like, I don't really have anybody I hate like that, to where I wouldn't.
That's kind of how I was
wouldn't
thinking
necessarily
too.
care.
Who is your biggest enemy?
I don't know.
And
man.
say their full name.
Brett Bielema, head coach of Illinois. Yeah, it changes. It changes every week, man.
Yeah.
Brett Bielema is enemy number one. Not only is he playing the Huskers, but he not only took the Big Ten title from us, he shoved it up our asses when he took that Big Ten title from us too.
Hey.
Because he's the head coach of Wisconsin when we played the Big Ten.
Will you get $1 million, but Nebraska loses the national championship? Do you take the $1 million?
This is like the live stream during Michigan.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Ooh.
There's always next year.
I'd pass on the $1 million.
Ooh.
Because you could look at it as you're paying $1 million for a national title, but I'm not paying for it. This is just a like, hey, we'll give you $1 million, but Nebraska loses the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're solid. Like, all right, I'm in a good spot to where I would say I'll forego the $1 million for Nebraska to have a national title.
Dang, dude.
What would your number be?
To take?
Yeah.
I mean, 5 jumps in my head, but I'm sure I would take less than 5.
1.1.
And then anybody who was mad at you, you just give them an NIL deal in Nebraska.
Think,
boys,
bro.
you
Yeah,
didn't-
with the money.
boys, you didn't
could.
win $1 million. You didn't win the national title, but I got $5 million. I can,
I
Keep a
love
mill.
that spin. I
Keep a
love
mill.
that spin.
yeah. And then it's like
Probably 2.
the bus, and then Nebraska wears the bus logo and a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Bussin.
Go take $2 million.
Buy Dylan Stewart from us.
Yeah, by Dylan Stewart. Yeah.
Yeah,
Number
imagine
6. I saw that we got correct on that. He's
Yeah.
number 6, not number 5 from South Carolina.
5 went crazy
Absolute
though.
monster. But
That-
yeah.
That's like when they asked Taylor if he like, hey, no, Michigan wins tonight, but Chandler gets knocked out by McGregor. He's like, we're taking that national title, buddy. Sorry.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy. I'm like, I'm right here, bro.
Yeah.
Live on live stream.
Right.
Taylor, I think his fandom should be in a little bit of question.
We're gonna have to call him to the stand.
I think we got to call him to the stand.
He should be. I don't even. I'll just wait to say this.
How was that though? You guys went to Nebraska. Was it Michigan first, then Nebraska
Yeah, so
in the same
we
day?
left at like 6 a.m. We flew out at 6 a.m. from Nashville to go to Ann Arbor, do Ann Arbor, and then to make the Nebraska game to land at 4:30. We had to leave right after like a series or two after halftime from the Michigan game. Then we get to the plane, fly to Lincoln.
Greatest day
ever.
ever.
Greatest day of my life.
Tough, man.
And that's thinking about both the
Tough to
wedding
beat.
and Rue's birth.
Tough to beat.
We had McFlurries waiting on us when
Oh,
we
man,
landed in
that's
Nebraska.
Clutch.
I mean, they truly could not have gone any better for myself.
And
If
then
I'm
you
thinking
guys-
me personally, that day went as good as it could have.
for sure. Well, and
The
and
whole
it's just
day.
and it's just a growth.
Secretly, don't tell anybody, the entire day could not have went any better.
Oh my gosh.
You seen what we're saying?
No.
The whole. What was the bad part of the day?
Yeah, if something you
Oh,
wish.
Michigan lost
Yeah.
badly.
It was a great day.
It was a great day.
It's a great day for you. It was a great day for you. I mean, it also just the testament, even in his sorrow, even in the sorrow of maybe losing a game, it's still the bus is winning, man. The bus
is
the
winning.
the boys are winning.
And in these moments,
to be
you
able to
leave
do
that,
that.
game, and he's starting to process what it feels like to lose. Especially they got whooped by Texas.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, bad.
Pretty bad.
And so you start to like, hey, this is fandom. But then you get this last weekend, I saw him tweet talking about he missed the game. He slept through the Michigan game. And to me, that calls into question, like, how big of a fan are you, bro?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? But
Sometimes
we'll wait.
you gotta-
We'll wait till we all get back on the bus.
Another lawsuit coming his way.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you gotta
another lawsuit coming.
sometimes
his
you
way.
gotta feel that though. You gotta feel the sting, and maybe even fall out of love with it a little bit and to come back as the best fan.
He
ever.
can't afford that because his
Can't
fandom
afford
just started last year.
It
You
is
can't
true.
just be a fan,
Jeez.
win the national title, and then just
Yeah.
you're off the
He
wagon.
was set up for failure right away, man. You want to win the national title. In
Those
first,
fans,
first
the
year.
fans in general, like I hated seeing that from the boy Taylor, but I sent out a tweet a little bit after, kind of like, hey, their fans are kind of just in question. Like they won a national title. Like half the stadium left at halftime.
How about
at the
Portnoy?
Texas
What's
game.
Portnoy doing these days?
He was at Pizza Fest, so he wasn't catching the game.
Oh man, see, this is why
He
the
wasn't
Huskers.
catching the
This is
game,
why it's
man.
going to be Mizzou versus the Huskers in the national
Maybe
title this
we
year.
might both be in the college football playoff this year.
See,
It's not, we got a tough one this week against Illinois.
dude,
I'm not sleeping on
you
Illinois.
met Matthew McConaughey too.
Yeah.
Did he say he was coming on the bus?
No, he has not, but Jack identified him. We didn't ask him, but Jack identified him as the next guy to
He's got to be.
days until he comes on the bus, tweeting a photo of him until he comes on the bus.
I like that.
He would be awesome, though. I think McConaughey would be all time.
There's enough pictures and screenshots of him out there. With
Yeah.
all of his movies he's been in. That'll work.
In Michigan, also 28-18 against Arkansas State.
3 picks. The quarterback.
3
threw.
picks, man.
28-18, Arkansas State.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Michigan does this year after winning the Natty last year.
Real high on themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, they are real high on themselves. Alabama looked really good. Tennessee, but also you guys played who? Kent State?
Kent State. But I mean,
Shout out Julian
when
Edelman.
you score
No doubt.
63 in the first,
Well, you guys put up 30 and then threw out an onside kick, right?
Yeah. But apparently I've been hearing, because my cousin was a GA.
And Jack's
for
got
the
boots
Vols,
on the ground for the Vols.
and
So
apparently that onside kick was to give them better field position. So we were like trying to give them a handout, because in the second half they offered to make it a running clock for the second half, and Kent State denied, and they were like,
I
no.
saw that.
So apparently, which regardless, even if I honestly love that we did an onside kick, and I want it to be because we were just like foot on the throat type mentality, but apparently it was to try and give them better field position.
But that's also
but
massive foot on the throat disrespect.
yeah, I know, but here we are. This week though is the true test.
The kickoff team just stands there.
It's Tennessee, Oklahoma, and they said it's game day, so it's at Oklahoma. So this will be our big first test.
Do we know what the opening line is?
No, but I'm sure it's out there.
Bro, I think Tennessee could whip their ass, man.
I just hope everyone
Sorry,
has
Mike,
fun.
the boys love college football.
It's all good.
Mizzou's got a little bit of a squad. Now, I will say I did call Boston College plus 16.5, but Mizzou's got a tough team.
Yeah, Tennessee opened as 6.5 point favorite.
I'm hammering that. I got to get on that right now because you know it's going to move. Tennessee,
Brady
might
Cook,
kill
first
me.
form athlete, dude.
Do what?
Brady Cook, first form
He's
athlete.
a first form athlete?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good for him, dude.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a first form athlete.
Yeah, dude, you got to be a
Come on,
first form
Frisella.
athlete. Come on,
Hook
Frisellas.
it up.
Hook the St. Louis boy up, dude.
Yeah. I went on, because what is it called now? What's this podcast called now? The real as fuck.
Real AF.
Real
and
AF.
then he did just bring back the MFCEO podcast.
I was gonna say
so.
your boy. Yeah, I had an appearance on the MFCEO like
Yeah.
2014 or 15 maybe.
Yeah, I need to do that
But yeah,
again.
big fan.
Now
of
that he
those
brought
guys.
it back, dude.
Shout out, no free
Freaking
shout out.
stud.
Is this brought to us by somebody?
My sport clips.
Oh, Sport Clips. And I have a good shout out this week. Just stay put, Mike.
Okay.
Everything is normal. Boys, when it comes to getting your haircut, don't just go anywhere. Visit the specialists who live and breathe men's hair. At Sport Clips, haircut stylists undergo special training to be experts in men's hair and making them masters of mullets, finessers of fades, and understudies of the undercut. It's easy to have confidence in your look when you're in the hands of a pro. Just another way Sport Clips helps keep your head and your hair in the game. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. My shout out, no free shout out this week, Mike, I hope you have one, is going to go to flickering. When people flicker their lights, letting you know that there's a cop waiting down the highway. Happened a couple times on the drive to Missouri and back. I got to do one as well. I'm just letting the whole other side of the highway know, hey, there were two sitting. There was one, you go over a hill, and then there was another one. So they were out to get people speeding. But when people are flickering their lights, letting you know that, hey, there's a cop down here, make sure you control your speed, get your shit in order. But that's my shout out, no free shout out.
I think
So
get
you-
in trouble for that.
Yeah, I think you might be able to get in trouble. I think you do actually, but you should.
Maybe
man.
I didn't do it,
Hey,
but people were doing
helping,
it for me.
People helping people, man. So we believe in humanity, right? So my shout out for no free shout outs goes to people who put their shopping cart away.
Nice.
In a world where laziness continues to win, the people who will walk to their car and then walk it all the way back to the receptacle and not leave it on the curb. That's my shout out. People
Does
who actually
does anybody
put their
here
cart
not
away.
put their card away? Sherm, I could see you being a guy that doesn't put their card away.
There's a guy, actually, the Cartnark.
Cartnarks, yeah.
Yeah, the Cartnark completely changed the game ever since I saw Cartnarks on TikTok. He goes around the country. He finds people that don't put their carts away, and it scared the shit out of me. So
Yep.
I always put my cart
I follow
away now.
Cartnarks. It's actually hilarious. Yeah, he wears a GoPro. He'll put a sticker on your car that says I'm a lazy bones. So like he made a really cool brand out of it. But even when people aren't looking, it's the things that you do right when people aren't looking, you don't get any credit for, that will then release the positive karma, that good things that will happen to you. Because I truly believe that you can't be successful in life if you're one of those people who just doesn't put their shopping cart away.
It's the little things.
It's the little
It's
things.
the details.
It's the little things. So shout out to all those people who do it and they stand firm in their convictions, that they, just because it's someone else's job to do it doesn't mean that you can be lazy and not put it away.
One thing that I like to do, because usually the parking spot right next to the right next to putting your carts always open because people are like, why would you park next to it? Because you risk getting hit. But I'll just park right next to it. So that way, whenever I get done, I just put it on in there.
Now some people would say, oh, well, that's real easy to do that. But it's like, it's okay to make decisions that make doing the right thing easier. 1,000%. It's okay to make, I'm not saying I'm any better because I will push it 1,000 yards and all that. But if I park next to one, no matter what, it's a non-negotiable that needs to be done. So there's nothing wrong with parking next to one as long as you put it away.
Yeah, you got to build around your laziness. I'm like the laziest person that I know. So I got to set myself up.
That's efficient. That's just efficiency.
Little successes.
That's efficiency, man. Yeah. As long as you do the right thing, whether doing the right thing was harder for you than it was for me, as long as you do the right thing, that's all that matters.
Amen.
To go back to yours, there is like a rumor, conspiracy out there, and this is why I have stopped flashing people going the opposite way if I see a cop, is in gangs, it's alleged to be an initiation when they have to kill somebody that flashes their lights at them on the road.
Dude,
new gang members.
I've heard that. I can't believe that's freaking.
Like their lights are off and you flick them to
right.
turn your lights on, and that gang member has to go.
They got to go kill you.
I've heard that since like high school.
I had to stop. I don't know if it's true at all.
If it was on the highway, like let's just keep it clean on the highway out there, boys. If you guys are listening to this and that rumor is true, be careful in cities and towns, man.
Yes. Flash at your own risks.
Yeah, flash at your own risk. And I was thinking too, I was like, I wonder if that's like an illegal thing to like tip people off. Like, hey, there's a cop back there. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to get each other right.
Man.
What are they going to say? What's your charge?
Obstruction of justice. Somebody said that my brights weren't working, so I was just trying to feel them out. Yeah. Like, it's 1 PM.
Or I try to
trying to see if the light on the inside.
Or I try to put my blinker on and you accidentally flip it. You always say that, dude. Because I've done that before. You accidentally flip it and you're like, oh shoot.
That's a good call too.
Just be like, sir, you can't prove that I did not accidentally do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you were sitting there.
Any more shout outs in the back? Okay, Mitch.
I moved this weekend, and that feeling of finally getting everything like in your house and sort of settled.
Haven't you already said this one?
Yes.
Yeah, but I need to do it again because
you said this one like a couple months ago.
It's so important. It's so important that every time you move.
I moved like 3 months ago, and I just did it again, and it sucked. But like the new house has like a projector, and me and my roommate Fal were just literally like your stereotypical picture.
You and Fal, I'd say you guys every time too.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys just moving everywhere around Nashville.
That's my boy.
It's like, shout out the boys, man. Shout out 1 month leases.
Yeah, no. And we were doing our other buddies a solid to kind of like match up our leases so we could all move in together. But like it was literally your stereotypical of like what guys need to be happy. It was a chair, 2 chairs, a little footrest, and like we had red zone going and like just sitting there. And me and him maybe said it like 6 times, like, bro, this is so sick. We are so happy to be here, and like
once it's over,
settled and done with all of that shit. But again, shout out that feeling since it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
Mitch, like I got one.
I got a great one. You guys have never heard this before.
My shout out, every shout out goes to birthday weeks. When I was growing up, it was just the birthday. You'd celebrate the birthday. Birthday weeks.
Because it's my birthday week.
Hey, birthday weeks are awesome. And
happy birthdays in the chat. Happy birthdays in the chat.
Treat them extra special, dude. Treat them extra special all week.
Will's is the 19th. My wife's is the 18th. She grew up doing birthday weeks, and they would make like a big deal, just like starting on that Monday or Sunday. You just like celebrate every single day. It's been fun. She does it for me. Now I'm gonna do it. What's up with all the L's? What's up with all the eye rolls? What's going on? All right, let's hear it.
For me personally, my birthday is on Christmas.
I always forget that.
My birthday is barely celebrated anyway. So when people are talking about, it's my birthday month, it's my birthday week, like, hey, honestly, nobody cares. So, except for Jill. Jill shares the same birthday as my brother. Yeah. So we'll let this can be the birthday week I'll celebrate.
Birthday weeks.
Birthday week. I'm not going to shout out finally get into my apartment. The last thing I'll do is give them praise, but I'll shout out as sad as it was, I have to shout out the fans at South Carolina and Williams-Brice. We went through one of the worst feelings, worst experiences you could ever have, but game day and in the stadium, they showed out. We have not seen a crowd like that. Oh, man, I don't even know. Like the Tennessee game was epic, but there was something different where like we had some swagger about us, and the fans just like they truly made a difference in the game. And nothing fires me up more as a fan than seeing other fans make a difference. I bought my ticket to the Ole Miss game during the LSU game. I'm like, I have to be there for our next war.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, if I'm there, that's not happening. I will go on the field. I would have. Maybe we'll get into all this stuff later, but shout out to the fans in Columbia, South Carolina. Y'all showed up. Keep showing up. It matters.
No Gamecocks.
Chandler, bro. Hey, Jack, I hate to cut you off. We got to get our boy rolling.
No, I didn't want to shout out.
Got to get rolling.
No. We'll get you one when we do the intro. But, bro, thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking about everything. Good luck in your camp.
Boys, we're going to camp, dude. Back to war.
In it.
Back to war. Today
Back
starts
in the
day
foxhole.
1. Back in the foxhole.
And I can tell, like, Mike's a good friend of mine. Clearly, he doesn't feel the same about me because he's leaving before my birthday. He's going to be gone. And his fight is on November 17th. Like, our second one is due in mid-November. So he clearly doesn't think about me being able to get to the fight.
I didn't plan my entire career around you. You're right. You're right. But I am here on the bus for your birthday week. So, I mean,
That's right,
that
bro.
does mean something.
And I appreciate you, man.
Of
Because
course.
it did. I know it leaked over the weekend. We kind of texted about it and talked about it, and you're on the bus. You're literally you always come on when something
This is what
pops
we
off
do.
with you, and
Hey,
we appreciate it.
And Monday after the fight, November 18th, I'll be here on the bus. Win, lose, or draw, no matter what, I'm here on the bus. So let's do it.
Appreciate you, bro.
You got it, bro.
Good luck.
Let's
man.
go, baby. Be a wolf.
Be a fucking wolf.
Love you guys. Shout out to the boys.